for the most part. I guess I can't see your mouse because you did streaming instead of screen sharing. Just something to think about a lot. I mean, your clicks look. I guess I can't see them because your mouse, but like just try to keep your clicks really close, like tighter to your champion. You know, just try to be like this to be here instead of over here. So just a better habit to be in because you're more control the closer you click to your champion. But I don't really have too many complaints about your mechanics. You have a good E here. The reason this E is really good is because it hits Zillion, but it's not hitting the wave too much, and you're already in a spot where you're gonna be able to get priority, especially with Ashe having tier. So like later on when you're trying to freeze, if you're trying to like poke them off the wave, you know, when Ezreal stands out here, try to, instead of like Eing on like this, try to catch him like more in the outer edge of the circle where it doesn't hit the minions so much.
Yeah.
You have to wait for Ashe a little bit here. Okay, so can you say do you already know what's happening with this wave right now?
Yeah, we're pushing into them.
Right, because this minion is lower HP than any of yours.
Yeah.
Right, so if you only last hit, you already have the slow push going, and this is where we just want to try to really only last hit. But we have to think about like Ezreal's Qs, and this is where you're just trying to pressure them off the wave from not hitting it. Ezreal's pretty much going to have to Q to last hit, and if he ever does Q a minion enough, he's not going to be in range to auto attack. So you can just fix it a little bit by hitting another minion with an auto attack to offset that Q. But usually he'll just save his Q till like he's either going to try to poke you guys or he's going to try to last hit. So that's why you're just going to want to like hug this minion and try to bait him into queuing for you, and then you just drop behind it.
Yeah, like what you were saying.
Yeah. And the reason I told you to go bottom side of lane is because Zillion kind of wants to play on the top side. So if he comes down here, then you'll move away more. But if you've already controlled this bush, it's hard for Zillion to feel like he can come up here. Because, I mean, at this point, if he walks up and your E's up, you just E and then Ashe comes up and W's him. It's really hard for him to play. But you want to play kind of towards the same side as Ezreal, behind minions and away from the support who's going to try to just poke you. Does Ashe hit it? Yeah, Ashe autos, and then we auto. So we really want to avoid trying to like, yeah, this auto's bad. Bad auto again. Because now you're pushing too soon. Because you really want to try for that third wave crash instead of second. So every time you auto a minion, you're going to speed it up. It's like on third wave.
So you think right here I don't auto? I just lost it right here?
Right, because these guys can't touch the wave at all, and you already slow push. So all you're going to do if you shove this in is you're going to make it so these two can catch these 3 minions under their turret. But if you're slow pushing more, then probably a couple of these get deleted, and Ezreal's going to have to last hit with like his Q anyways. Like, how can he stop you from slow pushing at this point?
Can't. I mean,
Right.
it's Q, but
Well, right, and it's got a high cooldown, and you're already way ahead. So if he comes up to Q, you're likely going to be able to E him, or Ashe is going to W him to punish, right? And if he comes up to auto attack, he's going to get fucked. So, right? Like there's no way he gets in range to auto attack these minions without getting punished way more than he should. So you can tell by the position he's already in, he has to Q. So there's already no way for him to like contest your slow push anymore because of the position you guys have on them. So now if you just start shoving, you're just going to be granting them the minions, and you're going to have a smaller wave crashing their turrets, which is just going to like punish them less. When you have a big wave on the turret, it's really easy for you and Ashe to just like spam E, and Ashe spams W, and they just, every time he's coming up to CS, they're just going to take damage. So then by the time after third wave has crashed, do you know what'll happen to their wave if you're just not touching it? Right. So if they're really low, if Ezreal's like half HP and you're sitting at your full HP with half your mana, when it slow pushes in, you just freeze it, and what can they do?
They can't step up. They'd have the back, and then they just lose more minions.
Right. So they either int for your wave, or they call their jungler down, which slows their jungler down. You're not going to die to their jungler. If their jungler comes and crashes, they're sharing XP now with their jungler, and their jungler is spending time bot lane, which then tells, you know, if your jungler's top side or if your jungler's near mid, it gives them a free opportunity to do that, or if your J4 has an opportunity to invade. It's pretty much the jungler's their get out of jail free card. And then if they do reset, and you know they reset, like maybe we have a warden here, or we just, you know, they haven't showed for like 8 seconds, we can just match the recall since it's frozen right here. And when we come back, it'll probably crash into us, but that's fine because we're gonna have way more golden XP than they do, because we also have a bigger wave coming into us. If you do it perfectly, it won't crash yet, and then you can try to like zone them off at that point. But a lot of the time the wave gets really big that when they come back, you know, Zillion and Ezreal just shove it in. But your wave's tiny because a frozen wave tends to get big right here, right?
Yeah.
And then they've missed pretty much all the minions. Maybe they catch a couple casters, and you're catching a wave and a half, so you're already by default ahead, and you've already got more gold than them because of that slow crash. He's going to miss a lot of CS under turret.
And And I'm also just missing the minions because I'm not lasting. I'm trying to push.
Somewhat. And sometimes your support, there's an argument of like, well, what if my support just pushes? Yeah, well, if your support pushes, feels bad, man. Like, try, if Ash is just spam autoing these and you see this and you know that you don't want to, just try to danger ping her off of them. And usually they'll listen to that, at least around the CeeLo. Because she knows what you mean by the danger ping on the minions. But you can just see all these autos right here. All you're doing is you're speeding this up when already these guys can't last it anyways. So now this whole 9 CS wave will crash in. Whereas if maybe we just slow it down, maybe Ezreal misses this one, maybe he catches this one with a Q. But he's still missing more than he will now coming in. Because the goal now is to miss XP. Like, you want to zone them off of XP. Because you know that you're going to hit level 2 first, right? You're going to hit level 2 after these minions. These 3.
So
Right.
do you think I should just wait for this for my the front minions? I don't know what they're called.
Melees?
Yeah, the melee minions to go to their casters, and then I just play right behind my.
Yes,
melee minion?
always right now. Like, right now you should already be up here.
Yeah.
Because
I
you...
should play behind it.
Yeah, because you're trying to keep them as far back as possible. Because if you're back here, Ezreal has an easy time coming up here and sneaking into Q, right? But if I'm right here and Ezreal tries to come into Q range, maybe me and Ash is right here, maybe me and Ash are here together. He's in W range. He's maybe in range of me just clipping him with my E. Which just, he's going to take damage. So if he's going to, and also he's going to have to spend mana to catch Slave. So if he's going to come get these minions, I'm going to punish him for it, even if it's just slightly. And though, over time we're just getting a smaller and smaller advantage, but then, when the wave's bouncing back, that HP discrepancy is like really big for us. So, you can just be looking at this wave, theirs is at the same point. I need to make their wave come all the way like up here at least before, the further up the better, so that you can just safely crash it. And then for their jungler, if their jungler is here, it's really hard for their jungler to gank because they're only level 1. And you're zoning them off from doing anything. You're going to hit level 2. Jungler's maybe level 3, but 2 level 2s and 2 level 1s, like, with a giant wave. Jungler can't really come into this wave. The wave will just smack them. The only time it'd be bad is if you maybe got poked a lot by Zillion or Ezreal, just by positioning poorly or just, not spacing them well enough. Yeah, you can just see these autos hurt you because now we're just going to be crashing. But if we just slow it down, when my minions came up here, I could even, like, if these guys give me a lot of space and move back, I can even just take control of this bush now. And then with this bush control, Ezreal might try to Q it. What the heck just happened? Ezreal might try to Q it from over here, but, you can just see it come and juke it, stand closer, further. But now, with me being in this bush, Ezreal has to play way back here. And now he's going to miss the XP for these. And if he wants to come up for XP, and also not to mention the gold, but if he's going to come up, I'm just going to E him here. And punish him really. Yeah, exactly. And that's the glory of having a really annoying poke lane early on. But pretty much anytime you have a lane where you can see that you're going to have prio, this is how you want to play it. And then again, if you think about third wave crash timing, like this is second wave, 2:30. The next wave comes in. We're probably going to be able to crash it around like 3 minutes. And then they're going to be stuck with a giant wave under their turret. That gives us a lot of time to move around the map. Because again, I know it's slow pushing back into me anyways. So I'm not really going to miss anything because I'll just, worst case scenario, I come back when it's under my turret and I can't freeze on them. But that's worst case scenario. But maybe in that time, I'm not punishing their bot as hard as I could have. But maybe we came up here, denied the jungler scuttle. My J4 got scuttle on his top side. Or we came and fought with our jungler on the scuttle, invaded their jungle, killed enemy jungler. Now there's just a huge jungle lead, which means when, and then they're also pushing, which then our J4 can just loop down bot and come behind them. So we can still freeze on them if we get back fast enough. And, again, worst case scenario, you just come and catch the wave under your turret, which maybe we miss like one melee or two if they slow push it. But the value we get around the map is really, really big. And especially if we deny the enemy jungler like Scuttle. And that's especially true for like single clear junglers like Elise or Rengar. Because if they don't get the Scuttle, they feel doomed. That's when they're like typing like FF, please. See, now he's just catching this CS. You can't really punish him. And now this caster wave's in a really awkward spot. So now if you already have like a big lead, which you kind of have good poke on them. It depends, does Ezreal still have a health pot or not? Zillion's obviously got 2 health pots. You could let it slow push back to you already. But if they still have like a health pot to put him back to like full HP, he'll just shove in the next wave. And then you'll be stuck under turret with a big wave and they'll just reset on you. So, if you're not going to be roaming up on the third wave crash, that's when you do your cheater recall. And then you just buy like a longsword Doran's blade even you could do as TR start MF. A D blade knight is actually really really nice. What I used to do was I would just almost always on MF just buy an extra Doran's blade. I think right now it's not as viable to do an extra D blade, but last season when I spammed MF like towards the beginning, I pretty much always would cheater into an extra D blade and then just come back to lane and it was pretty much unplayable for them. So now, yeah, now it crashes, and they're just see how Ezreal's just getting all this CS. What is the CS? It's 12 to 13. Obviously, we've missed some, right? But he could have a lot less, and more importantly, even if he gets the gold for like a lot of them, if you can make him miss XP on a lot, you know that you're gonna hit your level spikes like first every time, and you can play for level spike advantage. But because this wave's so small now, that when you go up to like get the ward on Scuttle, you don't have as much time. If you have a huge wave under the turret and you don't feel like you can punish them more, which if they're really low, you could be like, okay, I can just spam E on them under turret, cool. Ashe can volley them. Maybe you just want to play to punish them more. As long as you're confident that the jungler's not going to be coming and ganking you, or that their gank can't do anything. Like, for example, if you guys are still like this healthy on HP, and Ezreal and Zilean are like 200 HP each, then a gank at that point is like, with the giant wave under their turret, it's not really viable because they can't run past that huge wave, right? You've probably been in that situation before where your jungler's like spamming that they're on the way and you're stuck under your turret with like 2 waves and you're like, dude, I can't come in on this. Like, what? And then if the gank doesn't get a double kill, now you're like so behind because you missed that XP on that wave or the gold. And yeah, it just feels awful. So pretty much like that big wave being crashed prevents you from being ganked. It's still possible in certain like junglers, like if it's a Nunu who's just level 3ing you. And the enemy has like an Alistar at level 2 who can just like flash combo you. But when you're in that case and you don't feel like you're safe to punish them under the turret super hard, that's when you just walk up, get the ward, maybe just take Scuttle. But you can't do so much right now. Like you can even roam mid sometimes, but you can't do that right now because you don't have a very big wave crash under the turret.
Right here, I should be playing up farther.
Right, and at this point you come into lane, and it's it's already not slow pushing into you, so you kind of just now you just make it come in. You play for the slow push into them instead of just shoving at this point because you can just punish him because he's not going to be able to reset if he sees you slow pushing because then as soon as he resets he'll just crash it and he misses everything. Right, so like this melee all the way up here, you could be all the way up here. Pretty much making him choose. Like he can come up and try to Q you, but if he Qs you, he's not gonna Q this. Yeah, your Ashe is playing perfectly in this scenario. We should be up there with her. See, because when he went up to Q that, you could like drop an E on him, get a nice Comet proc, a little bit of damage. Even if it's only 50 damage, that's a lot, especially if he's out of mana or health bots. I mean. This position's better. And so let's see the space you have between this, you could still be like right here. The thing you just have to consider now is when your E's down or something, you gotta just pay attention to Zilean. Because you don't want him to get the slow onto you into a double bomb. Yeah. Like now, especially now he's level 3. This was good. That was good movement. Then Ezreal got punished a shit ton for trying to Q you.
Right here we see Pantheon, so we move. I think we just I think we just wait for Pantheon to actually like start coming down because I don't think he's actually to come down. Because
if you guys move like because your E's on cooldown, so you maybe they still have heal, so you can't really like kill them under the turret right now. If you try to dive, it's just you're gonna trade summoners. But if you guys move as soon as you know this is crashing, you can maybe stop him from getting this, especially if Galio starts coming down too. And then if Fizz follows, you just 2v3 them. And J4 is going to sprint it here too. So if you can just delay the Scuttle, it's good. Because again, Pantheon has really slow clear on the rest of the camps, right? He likes to do like red, blue, and Gromp. The rest of them he kind of feels bad doing because he doesn't have AoE damage. I mean, I guess his Q's kind of, but it's like slower than like a lot of other AoE champs, right? So if you can slow down his Scuttle, you're hurting Pantheon a lot. It's just slow by people. But yeah, it feels like you really want to punish here, but I mean, even when you walk up, how are you going to punish this wave? It's like already going to die mostly to this bomb. It's just that we want to move as soon as we crash this, because they can't freeze this anyways. Even if you leave right now, there's no way they can hold this wave. They're so low on HP.
I could also just back here if I really want to.
If you back here, it's just gonna be like it should slow push into you as long as like Ash doesn't hit it. But they're not really gonna miss too much more. It's just gonna be about even, which doesn't feel awesome. I would have probably as soon as I crashed this came up and looked at the scuttle as soon as I saw this crashing. But yeah, when they're gone and you shove, it's good. Just reset. This is a good reset, by the way. Not grading for this plate because they're just gonna be back if you try to go for it. But what you do know is now that it is slow pushing to you, right? Because you crashed this wave under the turret. I know you obviously knew that.
Yeah.
So this is the time where, because unless you think they're gonna like hard shove into you, which they should know that you also reset, and they know that they can't really beat you shoving. So this is where you can, instead of like, I mean, looking top's good, but also look mid. Because if Galio's like, you know, if they're in a spot where they look like they're gonna fight over the wave, you can actually just be mid for a gank. Or if
I just popped mid because I know it's slow pushing to me.
yeah, you can kind of like come through this jungle area, and then like at this point you can decide left, or you can decide down, or even at this point again you can decide to go up. But this is a little bit slower if you go all the way down around. But if Galio's especially like maybe he's like half HP and Fizz is also half HP, and they both like Fizz has Ignite and Galio has TP. Fizz has a lot of kill priority there, right?
Yeah.
So if Galio's waves like in a bad spot and you know J4's top, maybe I just come mid to support Galio and shoving it, because when like this is true for like all lanes, when Galio's gonna want to crash this if his waves like in a, like if he's get there, if Fizz is like threatening a freeze or Fizz is threatening a kill, Fizz is gonna try to kill him as soon as he comes onto the wave. So you can just be there lurking so that Galio's safe to crash, and then if you know that fight does start out, you pop out. Or if Galio's really low and you really need help shoving, you can just be there to shove for him, and then you can come catch the wave under your turret, and you're barely gonna miss anything. And then you're obviously happy with that because you know it hurts Galio a little bit, but he's gonna be happy because he's gonna miss it all anyways. And then you're gonna get extra a little bit of extra XP in mid with him, and then come out. So like right now they're fighting. So maybe if Galio was like this low and Fizz is half, and you know see Galio's got a slow push, or it looks like Galio has more minions in his wave. I think he does by like 1, because I think unless there's a minion right under Fizz, but I can't tell. But this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
He actually kills Galio here.
Yeah, he does. So, and I think Galio's fighting this because this wave is like that, and Galio just knows he needs to crash, so he's just trying to crash it. And it's a bad fight for a guy to take. He shouldn't do it. But this is where you could see, maybe recognize this, be like, okay, well, I can just come mid because I know my wave is slow pushing. And I can just give him a really quick, like, Galio Q's the wave. We just, you know, I don't have to shove it all the way into the turret or anything, but just give him enough that he's safe to finish crashing it, and then I can immediately start moving back to bot and catch everything. And then even if you miss like a couple CS in the process, you caught enough mid that it makes up for it.
Yeah, so if I was there right now, I'd probably arrive there like right now. I could be just killing for free.
If you were, I mean, if you really saw this, like you really saw this fight happening, and you just ran straight from mid or base, you'd be there a lot sooner. And that's probably actually the best idea, is actually just go this way and then rotate down through like river if possible. But that's scary because Pantheon. Just safe path then. That's faster than going like all the way down here up and then back down. But that's something to look for, because if you know the wave is slow pushing into you, this is something that you should try to look for in mid. And that's especially true for like supports, but it doesn't mean you can't do it on AD carries either. I do it all the time. I remember one time I went mid level 2 as Callista and got a double kill. And I was like, nice. I like crashed a really early big wave and just ran mid because I was like, oh, they're probably going to fight, because I think it was like Zed versus Silas or something. And I didn't have anything to do bot because I couldn't punish them under the turret. It's like Callista, right? How am I going to do anything to them under the turret? So I was like, all right, might as well run mid and then come grab the CS bot as it's coming back to me. But if you, something to look for is like, just, you know how you feel when you're like, you know, when you're this Ezreal or Galio and maybe you're this much HP, right? And these two look like this and the wave's slow pushing in, you're like, well, great, I'm not going to be able to stop this freeze.
Yeah.
Right? So you're like, I hope my jungler, my mid laner comes and helps me. You can still do the same thing as AD carry if you can recognize it from mid. It's just obviously you really kind of only want to do it when you're not going to miss much bot lane, which means it's slow pushing into you. Or if you're like screwed in bot and they're freezing on you and you're like, what do? I can't break this freeze. Just see if there's something you can do mid and just run there and push in their mid laner. And then with that like help mid, maybe your mid laner can come bot and help you break the freeze bot too. But just be open-minded to that. You don't want to like always force that too hard. But if there's nothing, like literally nothing you can do and you're just so far behind, that's usually an option to try to like break yourself out of it. Because usually then when they see you mid pushing a wave in or something, they're going to start shoving bot lane to try to punish you, especially around this rank where that's the default. It's like, oh, they're not in lane, I'm going to shove now, even though it's like, well, they can just come back.
Yeah, and we can't really fight them right now because Pantheon's down here.
Yeah, this is good that you play this slow now. But really just think about like that pressuring position, like even from like you can even do it while it's slow pushing into you if you have a really big advantage. So yeah, I think you maybe could have been here for this. You know, not.
I definitely could have, to be honest.
It's just I don't think you looked mid. You looked top, which is good. I like that you're looking on the map, but give mid a look too. Because J4 is not in a position to help this, so maybe if I just see that maybe Galio's going to need to crash on the next wave, maybe he's pretty low, maybe he has corrupting pot start and he has no potions left and Fizz does, or maybe Fizz recalled and Galio hasn't yet, maybe you can just come in and influence that. And you can just obviously notice that by checking their items.
Right here I trolled.
Yeah, you did this a couple times this game. It's slow pushing into you, so you don't need to be like really, really impatient with this wave. You're not going to miss anything here. You might miss like a melee, but you might be able to drop your E for that if you really need to. But yeah, really be afraid of this guy. Whoever this is, the support, you know, you're pretty much always going to be afraid of them. Unless maybe if you have like a Nami or something and their support's like Janna, and maybe I'm willing to trade with them and then Nami's going to come heal me up or something. But that's only if the AD carry's not in a spot where he's also going to follow up and hit me. Yeah, this is never worth risking. Just if you miss one minion, it's fine. Stay full HP because if you're not full HP, you're not going to be able to threaten this freeze anymore. Because as soon as Ashe gets here, you guys can just go for some poke. Israel fucked up his like W either. But yeah, we're half HP. Now we have to waste a health potion. And now it's going to feel a little bit weird when this wave comes into you. And then, yeah, you see Pantheon here. So we ward this in case, you know, because you're going to try to freeze this even though we just saw Pantheon. So this ward, yeah, this ward protects you from that. Because you're not going to play past, like, if your melees are here. Well, now if your melees are right here too, you can actually still play right here. If this isn't warded, even if you have your melees here, you can't pressure them off the push anymore. And you know, you could even just like go ahead of time. You could like what's pretty popular to do is like even from like right here, just ward like right here, because now you see them come into lane from multiple ways.
So you think I should just ward the lane?
When if it's slow pushing into you, you can ward this. You'll still probably want to ward in this bush to hold the just for Zilean in them. But if you both have like a ward up, and you know that you're gonna be able to like, or if you know that you're gonna be able to defend a pink ward in here, unless it's like Pantheon steps in here, of course. Then you can just pink this and put a ward down here. Because, you know, it depends. Like, maybe, what if they're done with Zac? This doesn't protect me from Zac Eing from here, right? But this does. Because I'll see him walk into the lane from either this way or I'll see him come from this turret, you know, coming into the bush. And then you just have to be pretty diligent about checking them out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, just covering, like, all your angles. Because there's a lot of times, you know, where... maybe it's happening, maybe not. I'm sure it probably has, where you feel like you have a freeze right here and you're safe, and then someone like Zac just comes over the wall from here, from the bush way over here, and just smacks you, and you're like, well, I thought I was safe, and then you just die and you lose the whole wave pushing into you, and that's a disaster. Because like the thing about freezes is if you end up dying here, you lose a lot, because it's really easy for them to crash once you're gone. Like, it's really close to your turret, and it's obviously like 9 CS that you're stacking up and trying to keep, you know, stacked to you know, keep it frozen. You have to keep a bigger wave. But then once you have this, once you have this thing, that's just the thing. We kind of start disrespecting Zilean, and then you keep eating Ezreal, I think, inside the wave too, like right here maybe. Right, so maybe we see Zilean here. Maybe we just E Zilean here. Now Zilean can step up, and then I can come next to this minion and auto queue Ezreal, hiding behind this. And if I can't, means he backed up, which means he's not touching this wave.
If I easily, yeah, you're right, and then I could just auto.
Yeah, and then
he couldn't even get the bomb.
Exactly, Zilean can't. You block Zilean's way of coming up here, and then you can still play like because Zilean, as soon as you drop the E right there, as long like if Zilean was right here still, and you put the center of your E right here, Zilean's gonna walk back. He's not gonna walk through your whole E, right? So he's gonna walk back, which is gonna give you the space to stand behind this minion and pressure Ezreal off of it. So once your E drops, you're probably gonna have to walk back. But maybe Zilean's low enough now from that E, he loses like a quarter of his HP or like even just 15% of it, and then maybe Ashe pairs it with a W, and now it's like pressured. You know, now he's just too low to walk up because you'll kill him potentially. We just also, if that is how it looks, and you're like, oh, now I have a kill on them. Remember that you just saw Pantheon, and Pantheon could still be like lurking around here, waiting like they could bait you. So this is a position where you're kind of like just trying to look for like the small wins so that you can pressure them off the wave until you know that Pantheon's like somewhere else on the map, like you actually see him. You're not really looking to like all in them because you don't want to get baited into death and lose this whole wave that you have stacked up. So like an E on Ezreal right now could be like if you just manage to put it right here. Like if you stepped over here, drop it here, and then at this point you're gonna need to thin this out a little bit, and you have the cannon, so it'd be okay if like one of these casters got hit by your E, but you're still just trying to make it not. But you getting see, so the problem is like you're getting hit by this bomb right here. At this point, you should probably just once you get hit by this, I think are you gonna health pot? If you don't, you should health pot now because you need to be like as full. Yeah, you should health pot now so you can be as healthy as you can so that you can actually keep threatening the freeze. Because if you're half HP, it's you probably don't feel comfortable trying to zone Ezreal right now because he'll just trade with you. So I think yeah, you should definitely just health pot here. The more health you have, the more pressure you have. But like that, yeah. So now that's gone, and then Ash volleys it too on top of it. But I don't know if she would have volleyed it if I don't think she'd volley it right now because I think she'd know that she's gonna be stealing CS. I think she sees this and then volleys it because she thinks your E's gonna kill these. Which, to be fair, I probably would have too at that point. They live like 1 health.
And the freeze is broken now. So.
Yep.
I should probably.
Well, then they just keep shoving, so I guess they're kind of still giving it. Yeah, you should still health pot. Because they keep trying to push this, which I don't know why they are. They should if you're these guys, you should be letting it probably just come into you with how low these guys are, or the fact that I was about to say it's probably because Pantheon's soloing dragon, but they just 4 kills him anyways. What happened? Yeah, it does make it is fine for them to show if they're trying to keep priority for the dragon, but. If you health pot, I think you're still going to be able to threaten the freeze limb now. And then at this point, I would just see how low Zilean is, and I would just focus my poke on Zilean more than Ezreal now. Because if Zilean's out of the lane, Ezreal's not going to be able to crash this by himself. So like this E is really good, right? Because you only hit this 1 minion, and you've already got like the wave in your favor. I like that we don't keep chasing because you're not going to catch up to this. That's not going to happen. Unless J4 is level 6 maybe. But I think Zilean has flash too.
I don't kill the other melee, man.
Yeah, you don't. You only kill it when it's being targeted. And then if this caster dies and this wave's maybe like a little bit back here, what you could do now is like run this wave up here. Because then you'll pull this melee up to like right here with this wave, which means your wave will come all the way up here, which means there's more space now for this wave to come up and start pushing. Because, you know, freezes will break if it's too close to your turret. So like because these minions are at such a like low HP value now, if it meets too close to your side, it's going to break. But if you can pull this melee minion down, which also means that this caster is going to tank first, which gives this melee more time to stay alive and more time to like do damage, you're more likely to hold the freeze then. Does that make sense? So another time is like if it's just yeah, go ahead.
So if I run the minion down, then the wave that arrives just gets to hit the minions with the wave that's already there, so it pushes faster.
Yeah.
And the minions that are there like don't die as fast.
Yep. And then this wave will, you know, there's less time and discrepancy in this wave and this wave reaching. It's the same thing. It's like there's just 2 casters here because 2 casters doesn't hold a freeze, right? So what you can do is if you're not threatened to like, you know, obviously there's like an enemy support in this bush or something and you can't do it, obviously you wouldn't, right? I don't think I even need to say that, but just for the sake of it. But if it's like just you in lane, and then maybe you're like, if the enemies try to like do anything to you, you know you're gonna like kill them. Like if Ezra's really low and he has to reset, then you can run these 2 casters and try to pull them like back here, and then it'll start a slow push into you again. Because you're just supplementing that wave with these 2 casters. So you just try to run these casters into a spot where the enemy wave will actually like meet with them before your wave, because then you're just starting a slow push. Because you'll have 5 casters on the red side and 3 on yours. So it's like, you know, 8 minions versus the 6. And instead of it being all the way up here, where yours will kill these 2 casters before their wave comes in, it's actually going to just be a slow push. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like right now, if this wave wasn't here yet and say it's like a little bit back here, you could just take the aggro on these and just run them up here. You don't have to go like all the way in, but just like come up to the point where like the waves are going to meet together instead of like way up here where these just get killed. And then, if you knew Ezreal like had just reset right before you did that pull, then you can just match the reset after that, and with knowing that Ezreal's going to miss that whole wave because it's slow pushing into you, and then you'll come and get it all. So same thing. But that really wouldn't be a timing for you to now like run mid, because Ezreal's going to be in the lane like 8 seconds before you, because that 8-second recall, right? Or maybe 10 seconds, depending on how much HP he has to regen for you. Yeah. So you're probably he's going to get into your tower as you're coming to lane, but it's still the fact that Ezreal's going to have missed like these 4 to 6 minions on that wave or the next wave, at least one full wave probably, and you're going to catch almost the entirety of like the next wave into wave to 2 waves, depending on where the wave was at.
I don't think this is a very like good game. I kind of played MF only for my oldest game, which is like
same things will apply to other champions.
That guy was not looking at his like camera.
Yeah.
He's looking somewhere else.
What are we at now? I think you do. Yeah, this just happens again where you walk into the Zillion trying to get up there. You gotta try to avoid doing that, because you just gotta know without Asher you're not gonna be able to threaten this anyways. So there's no way you don't need to come up here to hit these. Like you're gonna catch them under your turret, and there's no way you can hold without or Asher.
I just wanted to lose half my health for no reason.
I think so too. Looked like it. I would be thanking you if I was Ezreal. I was like, ooh, dude, you gave me a way out of this lane now. I was getting wrecked.
Then Ash just hits an arrow. Like...
Yeah, she just drops it. And as soon as you see the Ash arrow, R could have definitely been a little bit quicker, but yeah, it's okay. Also, maybe.
And also, if I didn't run into them and lose half my health, then I probably would have been healthier, and then we could have just killed them here.
Yeah, you could just fought Ezreal off.
With my heal.
So one thing, when you were over here, when Ezreal was like positioned here, this was fine because you had this wave here. Trying to step too far, like if this is the line of his Q, try not to be too far over on it. But when they start moving down like this, you have to come back up here.
Yeah, play around my minions.
Yeah. Like.
That was a slow R, actually.
Yeah, it's a little slow. Because you have the heal, so if Ezreal tries to jump in on you, you'll just kill him. I think this is where Ezreal ends up trying to like do some crazy shit to you. I think maybe like, oh no, it's right here. It's right here.
Oh yeah, I bait him with the heal.
Yeah. Good flash. And then yeah, Ezreal gets real greedy. Poor guy. It's a tilter, man.
Yeah, and Ash is getting all the kills too.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's not bad, but...
So when you kill them like right here like this, first thing to do is just to look at where's the next wave at, because you're gonna have to ask yourself like, can I shove in this wave and before this wave gets to the turret, and if it does, am I gonna be able to shove in the next wave really quickly before? And you might want to, if you don't know if the timings of the cannon waves, you might want to just look and check if it's a cannon or not, because cannons will spawn at the same time every game too.
Pretty sure we get to push this next wave fast enough.
Yeah. Yep, and then recalling right here is really good. Like, you're not wasting time not going back, because they're not going to get to you in time. As long as you like kept track of this death respawn timer, you should know.
Well, I didn't know that. I only knew it because of the Ash Hawk shot, which I probably should have known though because of the death timers.
Mm-hmm. That's what. You want to try to look for the death timers, because it takes about like 20 seconds to get back to lane.
Then I get one auto, so I get to play it.
Yep. And then you just come back and catch it all anyways. So this is where I was like, right here, you have a really good Q through this minion right here. That'd be huge. So just auto him Q this. The thing that's really good about just always trying to do this too, or always even just trying to like if you're playing MF, just trying to position yourself. If there's 2 champions like Zillion and Ezreal right here, sometimes you just want to try to like hold your Q to reposition to get like a double Q on them. Is just for that passive reset. It's so strong. It does so much damage. But yeah, if you Q through this, I guess same thing. Maybe he just dies, but it would have looked sick because he's super low. But your Q is also a little bit just on cooldown for a second longer. Yeah, good ulti. J4 sees a good gank here.
Yeah, kind of I saw the Pantheon top lane, and we had J4 bot. Like, he was
Yep.
taking his red buff like 30 seconds earlier.
Yeah,
So
Ezra and Zen are kind of trolling, being that overextended with Pantheon top. Because again, like this is like where when you're Ezreal Pantheon, like how do they feel like they're ever gonna get this plate right here? It's such a waste of Ezreal's autos to try to even come for this. Like there's no way they get the plate here. All he does is take damage from your E for no reason. So what Ezreal could just do is rely on the fact that it's gonna slow push back to him, and now he doesn't need to get punished by you by trying to like contest the wave. So he should just wait for it because he's already losing so hard. He should just wait for it to slow push into his turret, and he can just use that time to like, while you're under the turret, he can maybe look to duck out and get some like river vision or maybe even a deeper vision on your like Gromp if he feels like he has
right
a time
after
for.
here? What about like right after here? I'll just play it. What if I like walk down right after I come? Just keep walking down, like kite with the the guardian thing is coming. The Zillion ult. So like right now, I just keep walking down into
Like,
the Zillion.
yeah, that's fine. If Zillion doesn't have his bomb up, that's fine.
Yeah,
You don't
'cause
want to get
J4's
stunned.
coming too.
Which I think you see he uses a bomb and then he throws another bomb, so his W's down. So it'd be fine to do that. It'd actually be better to do that now. Yeah, that is a way better way to play this. Is just start going into him because he's gonna like eat flash out. It just if Zudin sees Zillion uses W though, you can't do that because you're gonna get slowed into a double bomb and then you'll just die. But as long as you saw like looking at that, that's something to do too, right? As AD carry, you just know to look for the win conditions of the fights, which is Zillion's bomb, as MF at least, because you have no way to dodge it. Hail Mary Ashel. Yeah, it was a little bit early, but I think it still gets Zillion maybe. I don't know. Oh yeah, you guys actually die here because this.
Yeah, Fizz flash.
Yeah, if you see Fizz behind on the map and then Zillion ult, as soon as I would just be running now because I know Fizz is gonna one shot me as a lowly 80 carry. How dare we try to contest Fizz?
Right for some reason.
I think it might have been to get your W up actually, which would be fine. I think it is. Yeah, you get your W up. If you did, you could have done a little earlier, then got the W speed and start running. But I don't know if you don't auto that minion, you're gonna die. I think that autoing that minion for the W, yeah, autoing for the minion for the W for the move speed is actually better. What does the wave look like? So now maybe you look at it. I want to know what the wave looks like. Does this crash? Is it going to slow push back? Because then I know I can spend some time looking elsewhere for a little bit. Like, did Zillion hold this? Did he hold a freeze? What is he doing with it? I don't know. Because if he's holding the freeze and Ashe is recalling, depending on like, I guess Ezreal just died, so you could crash it by yourself unless and also Pantheon's dead. But if Zillion's like holding this wave as a freeze and Pantheon's alive and I know he was still on bot side, like if he survived this fight, then I probably would try to avoid this, especially if Pantheon has ulti. But you should try to look at the wave while you're coming in because it might, if it crashes into slow pushing back into you, you actually don't need to come bot right now. You could look mid. I'm not saying in this case like it's wrong for you to go bot because if there's nothing to do mid, there's nothing elsewhere. Like and J4 is not invading, it's fine to go bot. But you can let it slow push to you still. If you're afraid of like the jungler and stuff, don't just try to avoid like the default of like I respawn, I run bot, and I shove wave.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to try to do more. Like looking mid, like you said that one play earlier in the game with Fizz. That's what I started to need to do.
Yeah, and that's something that's really really valuable with like understanding of why crashing big waves. Like the bigger the wave, the better for you because the more time it gives you to leave the lane. Because like if you're wondering like exactly why, obviously there's like it's not just that it's going to slow push back to you, but usually generally the bigger the wave, the longer it spends under turret, which means the longer this wave has to come up to here, which means the longer your wave has to come up to here. So maybe instead of the next wave being further up, it stays right here, and then the next wave comes in again, and because if the wave's like all the way up here in the lane, it's easier for them to finish clearing this, and it'll crash under turret fast. But now if it's all the way down here when they have to shove this again, there's more time for the next wave to actually reach like not under your turret. So you might have
Yeah,
it.
I died here because of Pantheon.
Yeah.
Did I see him? How fast I see him?
He
I
probably
did
just.
see
I
him.
think he hugged Tribush.
Yeah.
But if you don't have vision on Tribush, it's actually just better for this point. If you are crashing this and you're trying to like get this play on the bottom side. For that reason, that if someone comes from up here, you have more space.
If we have double slows with my E and Ash W, so we can maybe get away.
Yeah. Generally, there's no vision up here. You want to try to hug bottom side. Of course, unless you see the Fizz, you see the Pantheon like on the map, then you're fine to play a little bit more aggressively. Maps a lot. The law of AD carry, man. You stay away from the fog of war. Like, you die immediately in that shit. Oh yeah. So I think just because this is another time where like the plate's one hit, so I think that maybe like puts you into the idea of like, oh, I want to go grab that. But depending on who it is, they might like Ezreal can kind of just like be here and like Q this and then Q it again before it comes in. Like it's gonna be hard to walk into the turret without taking a tower shot with how small this wave is, right?
Yeah.
So because the wave's so small, we might just want to see the scuttles up and just go take scuttle. Because J4 is in base, so like if we're at the scuttle, it's a lot. Like if me and Ash are on scuttle together, it's hard for Pantheon to like do anything to us, right? We'll just zone him off of it. But taking the scuttle when J4 is here is nice, because also if you look at the map, J4 has no bot side camps up. He doesn't want to come bot side anyways. So just take the scuttle, because now Pantheon can't get it, and then J4 is going to want to come to his top side, because there's no camps at his bot side. It'd be really bad if J4 runs to scuttle and then has to go all the way to top side to his top side. It'd be a really weird pathing.
And he also wants to catch the wave top, probably because Creo died.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully he wants to catch it. Nope, he's like, Scuttle's spawning. Oh, he started running to Scuttle. Where is he going? I can't tell. He went towards bot, then he going mid. Oh, you died, so he ran towards bot to save turret. I don't know if he didn't even end up doing anything. Wow, what a play. I guess he stopped. He maybe stopped them from taking tower there.
I think Ash.
But if you don't die, he doesn't have to come bot at all anyway. So I just think because this wave's so small, I probably would be like, it's not worth coming up here. 80 gold is kind of meh.
More off scuttle.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you're also what are you also if you're on scuttle? In range of mid.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, true.
And then if you see Ezreal just like hard shoving by himself or whatever, you take scuttle, you can come bot if there's nothing directly in mid. But now I'm near mid, so if Pantheon was gonna go for scuttle, Pantheon's also probably near mid, or if he's not already by bot. Which means if Galio's getting ganked or something, maybe Galio can bait a fight for us, and then we just 3v2 them again. If this was like 2.5 waves stacked or something, or 2 waves stacked, there's a little bit more merit to come in for this, because now it's like, again, it's hard kind of for Pantheon to do anything. And then but there's also more merit now to the fact that if I go to scuttle and spend time in mid or something, or just reset, like which I don't think you need to reset with this much gold, but I'll have a lot more time. But there's also more room to punish with a bigger wave, so there's just more opportunity in general. I didn't try to mean to. That probably sounded a little confusing, but hopefully you get what I'm trying to say. If you don't, feel free to ask. I'll try to be more clear. Yeah, so I think because the size of this wave, just think about maybe Scuttle's better because you get more than 80 gold. And also if you just can look at the map and see like Eyes of a Jungler a little bit, you don't want to, like this Scuttle otherwise should be uncontested by Pantheon because J4 is only his top side's up. He doesn't really want to.
Yeah, I don't really think about that either. I should probably do that too.
Yeah.
Think about the jungler.
Because it also kind of, like, usually if their top side's up and their bot's not, it means that they're going to path top side and then they're going to make their bot side later. So you can, like, kind of be like, okay, if his top side's up and his bot side's not, he's probably, I've got, like, a minute to a minute and a half before my J4 is going to be on the bottom side of the map, so I'm going to need to play a little bit, like, safer, a little bit slower.
This is pretty, I mean, I guess it wasn't that bad. I feel like Ash should play it more on the left side so she could kite, like, where the Brazilian was going to run.
I don't even, What does have? Oh, Zillion just flashes on you. That's why.
Yeah, he just flashed double bombs. I mean, I get one at least, so it's not terrible.
Yeah, Ash definitely, instead of coming down here. So if you're the one alive, you definitely want to kind of be right here when he spawns here.
Because I know he's gonna have to run to the tower.
Yeah, he either has to go this way, and then if you're down here, you can just actually run through river. Yeah.
But Ezreal ends up losing the whole wave, so.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I mean, Zillion flashed on you too, and you didn't blow flash, I don't think, right? Maybe you did. No, wait, when did we flash? Did you flash when he... Oh, okay. Yeah, like third time, fourth time this game, huh? So greedy. So maybe, you know, I guess, yeah, you don't have to rush this push or anything. You just wait for Ash to get here. You know, you can even prep it a little bit.
Even like here, I should just start backing off because I see both of them. I don't have.
The minion,
I thought my Ash was running down like through the through the river. I didn't think she was going all the way around.
I mean, kind of the way we hit the minions is just weird too. I wouldn't use my E to push the wave at this point, by the way. You don't need to. It's like it's a waste of your E now. Because you want to use your E to like slow Zillion if he's going to try to do this shit. And you're plenty strong enough to push this with just utilizing your W and passive. You don't need your E, right? If you're in like a desperate situation to shove it, you could drop your E on it. You could even drop your R on it, right? If you like really need to get out of the lane or something. But like this minion was like last hittable, and then you hit this one, so it died to nothing. And now this one's last hittable, but I think you're about to hit this one, and then this one's also gonna die to nothing. See that?
Oh my yikes!
So we just missed 2 CS, which is just kind of weird, but easy fix. I think you're just so like I want to shove this ASAP, but for what? Like there's nothing even up that you're like trying to go contest right now. Like your team's not fighting a dragon. There's nothing you need to shove ASAP for. So we could even at this point you could even just play for a slow push again. So you could just auto this one once, auto this one once maybe, and then just like blast hit. And just like try to zone them off of the wave with your E until Ash gets here. And if you can't, like you can kind of fake it, like maybe like fake the Ash is like behind you or something by like standing up here. And when they come and you drop the E, don't hit the wave with it. And then if they just kind of start like ignoring it, then you just leave. And then maybe they'll push into you, but that's fine because we're not going to have to blow our flash. Yeah, you're just like really trying to shove for kind of nothing here. There's nothing to get priority for.
Yeah, literally no reason. I didn't even hit this ward for some reason.
I think we got 1 minion in this whole wave and it was right there, and we traded our flash for it because you were just really impatient. Actually, I think your double up got a caster, so I think you got 2, just because you're impatient for nothing that there's even directly a need for priority.
Even if I had flash, I could just flash that.
Yeah, and then if your flash is still up right here and he flashes on it, the only reason he does this, by the way, is because you don't have flash.
Yeah.
I think. Well, actually, he might not know if you have flash or not because people tend to not time. So he might still do this. Then you have flash and you just like flash right in his face and you just blast him, like because you know you have Ash right behind you. But yeah, definitely try to, because I mean, if you're doing this on MF, you'd probably do this on, you know, this is something that it's just a habit.
Yes.
This is just autopilot habit. If Dragon's up, this might be more merit in you just like trying to shove this as much as you can, and then as soon as you see them come in, you just kind of like try to duck out this way, hugging the wall, depending on where Zillion moves. If Zillion's like immediately running up this way, then you're kind of blocked out, and you'll probably have to like just save path around. But there's literally no reason for you to be rushing this right now. Yeah, and then here we don't need to shove the next one. Dragon's up. If they come for bot wave, that's fine. We're gonna go to dragon. If they're just pushing this wave, it means we've already got dragon. So when dragon's pretty much at like 1k HP, or at a point where pretty much it's just gonna be dead, then you can just save path to your turret and just like, if turret's gonna die, if you don't ult, you can ult the wave. Well, actually your ult's on cooldown at this point, but you can just try to get to tower before they're able to crash. But come to the dragon now instead of trying to shove this out, because you're not gonna be able to shove this fast enough. And then if you're shoving this and Zillion and Ezreal come right here, then you actually can't come into this fight now.
Yeah, and then I get zoned. I think it's happened to me before too.
Yeah. Times. So this wave's in a reset state. So if Ezreal and Zillion don't come here, everybody's missing the same XP down here. And then if they're pushing, you get dragon, and then you just try to look for the timing to come get here as the wave's crashing in, so you don't lose tower. If you have to lose tower, it's you know, whatever. If they're already winning lane or something, like you're losing lane and you can't contest it, that was gonna probably happen at some point anyways. But because we're already here now, you can actually be in this fight, and I think it gets you the dragon.
I thought he was gonna look for me.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. That's totally fine for you to play it slow and wait for Fizz. Because if you're here hitting Pantheon, Pantheon jumps on you, Fizz like just ults you, and then I mean your team will probably trade it, but either way you're gonna win that fight if you just play it slow.
Close dragon. If I had Arya, that'd be so.
Yeah, that would have felt really good. That's the dream. But yeah, just so in this case, just think about that. And if the wave's slow pushing to them,
Oh, this is when you were talking about when Ezreal's dead, like how to fight the Zillion. Like you said, I was just gonna ER him.
oh yeah. So your first goal is just to get him like maybe you kind of just have to know how much your ulti does, like ER combo. When you're Emaxing, you have a little bit more. But you just want to get him to like honestly like 60% HP. And then because Ezreal's not here to defend this turret, if you get Zillion low enough, he can't defend you anymore, right? Like I mean, he'll have his ulti, but you can kind of just bait it out without killing him, and then he has to leave. But if right now, if instead of eating this, this would have been pretty bad because you can actually just tank a bomb from him because 3 people are dead. You're not threatened by anybody, and you still have top laner top, right? Yeah, Aatrox is top, so I'm not really threatened right now. I'd just try to E him here, this first E, and then I'd try to get like autos on him while my E is on cooldown. So I can just walk up here, this is fine, your spacing here is good. He turns around, be a little bit quicker. As soon as he turns around, you want to try to be really quick about it. Even just try to wiggle him, and then if he walks up, again, you can tank like one set of double bombs. He's not going to kill you, right? From just a double bomb with no one around you. If you can trade an auto Q, like auto onto him, or even just an auto Q at this point, is going to put him at a half HP, and then when your E's back up, you just drop ER on him at a point where he's not going to be able to bomb you. It's like, yeah, there we go. Auto Q is at half HP.
If I had my E there, and then he would have been
so
40.
Yeah, if you didn't drop the E right before you got stunned, now you could literally you could just walk up here, and if he doesn't respect you, if your E can be on the center of him, you can just drop ER together, and he's gonna be forced to like flash out or ulti, and then you're just gonna take turret on the next wave.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't have.
And especially if you did it right here when the wave's coming in, because then you're killing the wave at the same time. Yeah, he doesn't have flash because at the same time as yours, right?
Oh no, it's a little bit later.
Oh yeah, a little bit later. That's right. Like 5 to 10 seconds later. Unless he has the rune for it, but it's the same thing. I don't think you die. I think you actually kill him.
Yeah, kill him.
He tried. He actually made an almost good play there. He tried to run the bomb into you. Oh yeah, you turned back into it.
Oh no.
Happens. But yeah, one thing to try to really do on MF is like don't use your E and then use your R while you're on cooldown, because your ER together makes it like an entirely different thing. Because the slow is just huge, especially on E-mobile champions. Like if it's a Kai'Sa and she's walking up to last hit a minion, if she's 75% HP, I'll just drop ER on her. Because now she's so low that like either I dive her or she recalls and she misses the whole next wave and I get turret plates or a turret. And then like I basically killed her because she missed a whole wave and I gained so much gold value on her. It's like I don't actually have to kill her. I just force her off the lane that way. Force her out of the lane that way. And sometimes you might even kill her, like especially if like you're in this case and the Kite, like let's say you're under the turret right here, right? Or Kais is here and she moves down here, and then you just come down here and she steps up to last hit a caster or something, or she starts moving just anywhere like past this point where your E can drop on her without you being like directly on her turret. ER and she's just gonna fucking eat it. Like, she's stuck in the turret and she just fucking eats it, dude. Or like even if they're up on this wall, like where pretty much where you can put it so that like if you're standing here, if you angle your ulti more downwards, like this will still be all in. You know what I mean? Because it's a cone. So instead of like if they're standing right here, you don't want to aim your ulti straight at them because then half of it's just going into this wall.
Yeah.
But if you angle it like down here, and they're standing right here, this cone still hits them, and then it also puts it more spreads where they have to like run down. So now, what do they move? They move into my auto range right here, where I just auto queue them.
Yeah. Do you think it's easier to do that if like you have your R and like SmartCast or something?
I SmartCast everything, yeah. But that's personal preference. You don't have to. I wouldn't say it's easier. I guess it's probably faster the ER together. It's kind of like Caitlyn's EQ, you just kind of roll it. But it's not like the exact same. It's not like a total animation cancel or anything, but it's just faster. Yeah. I SmartCast everything, but that's personal preference. You don't have to.
Where do you think I should just shove?
Yeah, this is where the freezing is like.
No point.
I mean, you don't have to shove right now. You can freeze for a little bit and try to deny them. But once you see the enemies like moving mid, like you don't really want to keep Galio in mid and then have Fizz come bot and match you, because Fizz will just tower dive you every time. Right, like Fizz, unless your flash is up, you're dead to Fizz every time. So I think it's fine, you know, you kind of let this wave gets eaten, and then you're kind of, it's good that you're thinking about freezing, but I'd rather be mid here, because I want to protect my mid tower, and I don't want people to die in mid. Mid tower is kind of your baby as AD carry. Like, mid tower is everything in League of Legends. That thing, whoever has mid tower, it always has mid prow, pretty much. Just because the enemies can't really walk up very far into the lane. Like, you know, you can catch mid waves way, way, way before they can, because they can't come into your turret. And then here, I think it's fine that you shove this wave, and then after this, you were going to go mid. If there wasn't a fight happening, you'd still go mid, just because, again, you don't want to be caught overextended. But when you see them, like, kind of fighting like this, start moving. As long as you don't, and you know Pantheon's, like, not in this bush or something. I don't know where he is or not. I think maybe we see him ulti or something. Okay, there he is. Always just keep running to this until you know the enemies are gone. Like, just keep running to this. Like, even if you come all the way, like, up here, keep coming to it until you see enough space between your team and the enemies that the fight's, like, not happening anymore. Or unless you know that your team's, like, 100% going to win it without you. So, like, at this point, I would stop going. Like, so, because Ezreal's all the way over here, your team's all the way over here, Fizz is down here. And Fizz, I think, was pretty low, and you saw him use his ulti, so he's not really that threatening to you, especially because you have heal. So yeah, now I just come down and get the tower. But it's good to keep going there until, like, you know, Pantheon died, and then there was these two are too far away. Because then if anything goes wrong, you're there to at least clean it up. But as soon as there's enough space between them that, like, nothing's going to happen, yeah, just push out that top bot turret. And then shove the next wave, and then start. And then after that next wave, since Aatrox is respawning and Zillion's going to be respawning, you're not going to be able to get this bot turret, so just leave at that point so that you can keep tempo. Like, hitting the inner turret for, like, 20% of its HP is, like, useless because it doesn't do anything for you. Right? So what you could do at that point is maybe if you shove this wave out, let's say, like, after this you move bot, you took turret right here, and you're shoving this wave out, and then you know this wave's going to crash. So again, you can look at the map, see if the next wave will meet right here before or not. If it's not, then you'll shove out the next wave as long as you feel safe to do so. If you don't. And then on exit, you can take their Gromp or their Krugs. If you're top, you can take the Gromp, whatever. Again, as long as you feel safe to do so, which I would, because, you know, Fizz is not here. He doesn't have his ulti. Someone's going to have to catch this turret. They don't really know you're on the Krugs, and then Pantheon's dead, so he's not going to ult you. So, I mean, as soon as you see someone right here, you can just leave if you're not safe near them, if they have a way onto you. But always try to, like, shove waves all the way to the turret, as long as, like, if you feel safe enough to do so, and then exit with jungle camps, and then reset, or if you feel like you need to reset. At this point, I think you would have after that, you'll have enough for your, like, Gale Force. You'll probably reset. If you don't have enough for the Gale Force, just come get the Scuttle or something, finish that off, and then reset, and then you're going to come mid. Unless there's, like, a wave top that your team's not catching.
Sure, I go mid here, though, right? Yeah.
Well, that's because you just ran all the way here.
Yeah, I should have probably went back bot right here.
Yeah, as soon as Pantheon died here. Because, like, Fizz was out, Ezreal was out. You're not going to be able to close that gap.
Start moving back for a second.
Yeah. I think you saw Fizz show up here again, and you're like, oh, they're going to keep fighting. But if they kept fighting, your team was going to win that already. It's 4v2 now. And even if they trade one for one on Fizz, you're going to gain so much more out of just, like, catching this whole wave, catching the next wave if possible, and then denying them this whole entire wave. A big thing about it is denying enemy team waves.
Yeah.
So then you would reset and come in. I don't know how we die here. I think you're really far up. Zillion shows up here again. You know he's going to slow you. Oh, you stop moving. Maybe you're lagging, dude. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but we stopped moving. What did... I guess...
I think I may have misclicked. I don't know.
We'll go with that. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Wait, why did I flash? Oh.
Yeah. So one thing that remember I mentioned, you want to try to, like, keep your mouse close to your champ when you're moving. That might help with all these random times our cameras keeps jerking up on us.
Yeah.
Because that's really rough when that happens. For the most part, we do a pretty decent job of controlling our camera, but yeah, these are really bad. It's because, like, you're flicking your mouse to click all the way up here. But if you just, you know, same movement happens if you're just trying to click as close as you can. It doesn't have to be, like, right here. That's too close, right? But even if it's just within, like, your auto range, clicking a little bit better than trying to click really far. Just keep that in mind because that is actually like if you watch like pro AD carries, you'll see them almost always clicking like very close to their champion, or like at least like the top tier pros, like LCK AD carry pros, like Uzi. Uzi always clicks really close. Uzi's insane. Hold on, dude. Yeah, I think you'd been fine here if you knew this. But yeah, as soon as Zillion flashes on you, you just have to like flash it. I don't know. Maybe honestly, it's because we didn't know Fizz was right here. But one thing also, you should be playing down here right now. Even though you see Zillion and Ezreal kind of by here, you have your team near you and you have this warded. You don't have this top, like this top side's all fogged. So you don't want to stand up here. Because you can kill these minions from like doing the same thing from right here, right? Like you can be right here, and then as soon as you see these guys walking up, you can leave.
Probably, I don't know why I looked.
Or at least if you want to be up here, like put your pink ward in this river bush first. I don't know why you look bot either. I think because we were saying like where are we gonna go after this mid wave? I think we were just for some reason discussing like what does bot wave look like, if it's slow pushing back to us or not. But yeah, you didn't have to. Yeah, you didn't have to look right at the moment. But then you also like Fizz does come onto you from up here, so you might have been dead either way. But once Zillion flashes on you, and then at least so if you're down here and Zillion flashes on you. Well, so if Zillion flashes on you and you're standing down here and you flash it, you'll be fine because even if Fizz comes out from all the way down here, like there's more space. Well, maybe heal. It's still a little bit scary, but maybe. But there's way more opportunity for you to live from here. But if you're up here by this fog and you flash, and then the Fizz ends up being right here, and here's where he can land his ult on you, you're still dead.
That's really bad actually.
So try to always play to where you have vision, and if you want to stand on this side because you're like afraid of the people down here, try to put some vision down here, and that's why blue trinket on AD carry is so good because you can do it from here without having to like. You know, if you're against,
I usually do buy blue trinket right as I go.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't know. I thought I bought it.
No, we didn't buy it for a while.
Maybe I wasn't back. Yeah.
I believe you on that blue trinket stuff, but that is the reason why we like blue trinket so much. Is so like when you do want to push and stand up here away from whoever's down here, you can actually get the.
I actually never ended up buying blue trinket this game.
Yeah, I was one thing. I think I might have missed saying it, but I remember thinking about it. I might have said you blue trinket, but I think I might have not. But yeah.
I do. I'm not, that's not something you have to
worry about. I'm not. I'm not worried. Yeah, your team cleans that up thankfully when they invest on you, and then top is slow pushing. So you respawn. Your team's all gonna exit. If you're with your team right here, if you're part of this group right here, before you're resetting, like this Galio who shouldn't be resetting yet, take the jungle, and try to get. If you have any vision, put it down, unless it's a pink. If that pink's just gonna get cleared.
I think we need to reset though because Dragon's up in like 20 seconds or 15 seconds.
True. Yes. I was looking at it right now where it's just grayed out, so I didn't know the exact time. But yes, if it is like 23 seconds, then yes, you do need to reset faster.
Maybe I wanted to catch the top wave.
Yeah. So what you can think about is this is gonna slow push in. So if you just get Dragon and reset, someone on your team can usually catch this. So maybe you just want to thin it out enough that you don't think it's gonna push in fast enough to through it. Because again, what happens then is this wave is all going to the enemy team's gonna miss this, whereas someone on your team will catch this. If it's not you, it's someone else, which is still more value for your team overall. But yeah, I get the idea here. You want to shove this out, but. J4 is like up on blue, so honestly, it's not that big of a deal because Ashes and base J4 is on blue. So yeah, if it's just gonna be you and Camille or whatever on Dragon right now when their whole team's running there, it might be bad anyways. So it's fine that you're here pretty much at the same time as J4. But if like, you're like right here pushing this out and J4 and everybody is like already kind of in this area, then you need to be moving a little bit faster. Unless you're like, oh, Aatrox is dead, they have to catch mid wave and the Dragon's gone already. Fuck it, just keep pushing this. Like it. Depending on timers, again, you might have some leeway to just ignore being at the Dragon. You might not need to. Because Camille Ash, or Camille J4 will honestly take it by themselves very, very quickly, because Camille takes it fast. But if it's like Malphite and Galio together, they're going to take that slow as shit. They're going to need you. And then I remember right here, well, we talked about a little rotation here. So you get the kill on Zillion. Chasing him might not always be the right call here, by the way. I think your team is so far enough ahead that it doesn't matter. But if the whole team's like fighting right here, and there's more going on, and Zillion just ulted, I don't really care about Zillion. I might just ignore him and go down here. Like if he's gonna get so far away that I have to keep chasing him, because this fight might be lost without me.
Yeah. I think he still wins that though.
No, yeah, I'm saying your team's far enough ahead in this case that it doesn't matter that much. But if it's like a more even game, don't tunnel so hard on like Zillion here.
Yeah, because it's kind of wasting time.
Yeah, because I mean it's gold, but if the rest of the enemy team is like, if it's on even footing, then the Zillion without his ulti is like he's already pretty much, yeah, he'll have a double bomb, but he can't really enter the fight like from behind you guys anyways, because you guys will one shot him when he comes in, right? So it might just be, just be aware that there's a lot of circumstances where chasing the Zillion is like worse off for you because your team might lose the fight without you there.
I think you tell me to go top. Alright, so why do I go top here, by the way?
Okay, so if you look at, so it's pretty much, yes, Ezreal's dead still, but it's pretty much a 4v4 because he's 5 seconds on his respawn, right? And Camille's dead. Galio's bot, J4 is here. There's no way for you to push mid right here. Why do you go bot? Because even if you go bot, what is it, a 4v4 under the turret?
Galio's bot, so there's no point.
Yeah, so he's going to get all his XP. If you go bot, you're not pushing this turret 4v4, right? Because Ezreal's respawning. If Ezreal and Zillion are both like 30 seconds, and maybe if Galio's like, if this wave's like, you have a wave all the way up here, you guys can now rotate together here and push this before they can like fight you, because it'll be 4v3 and you guys can dive that. But Ezreal's going to respawn and be here before this wave makes it all the way up here. So you're not going to be able to get this turret.
Yeah.
Unless you're very confident that you guys can 4v4 the monitor turret. And we have no ultis. You have your ulti, but there's no ultis on the rest of the team. So, okay, you can't push mid anymore, right? Because they're already here. And there's no one to help you. So there's more value in you just running up the top. And if you're confident that like J4 is not going to be, or not J4, Pantheon isn't going to be like somewhere around here. Yeah, you can take Gromp on the way up. Gromp, Scuttle, and still go top. Or if you're really, depending on, again, how much time there's on resets, you might be able to get top turret first, take top turret, take Gromp, take Scuttle, reset. Because the faster you are to top lane, the more gold you're going to get out of like this. The minions, yeah. But the reason we want to take Scuttle right now is because they're kind of on respawn, and someone might just like follow you up. So like it's hard to say whether you're actually going to be able to get this turret or not if the enemy team if even just Fizz comes up here by himself, right? I'm going to be afraid. And so if I have my yellow, that's why I was saying for a ward,
yeah,
I'd probably want to come. I'd want to walk through this way and ward like right here, or on this crossroad. Either way is fine, because now I can see people who are like coming up through here to go this way or coming up to go this way. I'm not going to be able to see through the lane, which is fine. I'm just going to have to kind of track the map and see if anybody's here or not, and think about how long it would take Fizz to like rotate. Depending, like if I see Fizz and I'm not afraid of Aatrox, I don't care. If I'm not afraid of Pantheon, I don't care. But if I don't see Fizz and I see the rest of them defending bot, I'm probably going to leave a little bit sooner. But a lot of the time, people will walk in a way around here. And if you take the Scuttle on the way up, you'll have river covered as well as this area covered. So the only place you don't have covered now is the lane. So you just have to be a little bit afraid, because Fizz can easily kill you through the lane. But Fizz starts running into this fight. So I think we look here. If you saw this on the map and they started fighting, you'd probably want to move here. J4 walks into them. Okay, Fizz still isn't here. There's also a pink ward right here, so we have it good covered. But now you can see why this ward's bad.
Yeah.
Because you can't see him hug this. If he hugs the Gromp, you won't see him. So he could come through like all the way up here. But what were you gonna say? Sorry, I cut you off.
I was just I know after. Oh, I was saying I should probably look at my team right now while I was thinking that, right?
Yeah. Because you don't need to be looking at yourself, right? You can keep looking at J4 what he's doing. Because if they start fighting him and you think it's like a 3v3 that you could get to, because they're just not there yet, you could just rotate back down. But Camille TPs and it's like 4v3. I don't know. I think it's fine that you keep pushing top now, because at that point it was like too late. You're not going to get there in time. Like once you've passed up here. Yeah. But now, because it's fight, at least you can see Fizz and you see everybody on the map, so you know you're safe to take this. Otherwise, we'd probably if we didn't see Fizz right now, we'd have to think about like how long are you safe to push this. Because if you're going to die, it's not going to be worth it, because Baron's up. So you might just crash this wave, deny them this wave, you get the value up here that you weren't going to get in bot lane or mid lane, and then you can just reset, or you can just run back to mid. I'd probably reset because you have 1,200 gold, and you're going to buy what are you going through to collector, right? So Dirk.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty good buy. And then we shove this wave out. Because we still see them all, we'd push this and they surrender, yeah. So otherwise, we'd just keep pushing this until we weren't comfortable anymore. And then, I mean, your team would probably do Baron with all those kills anyways. So yeah, I'd try to like emphasize the like punishing position on where to stand to keep them off the slow push, and then try not to auto a lot to get a bigger wave for you and not trying to crash like a smaller wave into them that they're actually just going to be able to catch on their turret now, because you want to try to punish them as much as you can before that wave comes in, and then you can use that time that you have to try to punish elsewhere on the map or get a reset in that'll allow you to punish harder when you come back to lane. And then not walking up and disrespecting Zillion when your Ashe isn't with you, and just acknowledging that it'll come in.
And when the wave's slow pushing me, I just gotta let it sometimes.
Yeah.
I guess I try to freeze too much. I guess I like.
It's good to try to freeze, but just like.
Yeah,
but when you.
Like, I'm gonna die for it.
Yeah, you've got to have the means to do it. So like if Ashe isn't with you and Zillion and Zez are together, you can't really 2v1 pressure them. You know, you can kind of like. You can like space enough that like, you know, if Zillion, let's say this coming at you and Zillion's like right here, you can kind of stay like in this area where he can't get onto you, but you need to acknowledge like his move speed buff into a W into a slow on you, right? Like, because even if he doesn't double bomb you, if the champion's like a level 6 Kai'Sa or something and she can just run up and get onto you, even if he just speeds and slows you, you're still gonna die. Yeah. So, you made that mistake a lot in this game, and because if you didn't take that damage, these guys would be getting bullied off. Like right now, these guys probably wouldn't be able to play this lane at all.
And I probably should have popped my paw earlier.
Yes, and then pop your potions here. Like, because again, remember that health amidst like the amount of health you have is directly like is like directly related to how much pressure you can have on the lane.
Yeah, I shouldn't have eaten here.
So if you're like if you're like 600 health right now, or if you're missing like 100 HP only, like you probably don't need to use it, right? But if you're missing more than the health bot gives, by like 100 more than the health bot gives, you should probably use it, just so you can keep the pressure going. And then just, you know, try to remember which by the way, I have this on my Twitch too, so you have the VOD through that. And I also have it recorded, so you can have the VOD separately. But the rotations that we talk about and stuff and why.
Yeah. So
stuff like the fizz at level 3 that you could look for because you know the wave is slow pushing into you. And that's key for like a support if you're like duo queue with a support. Maybe a support is afraid to leave you, and if you're duo with a support, then the support might be afraid to roam on you because you tend to walk up and die. Like right here. But this would be like a really good time for your support. Like if they didn't need to reset right now, it'd be really good that your support, instead of a reset for like, you know, maybe they just buy a health potion or something, they can just go roam mid or top, and then you know that this wave's going to crash into you and they can't dive you, so you can just catch them, do turret, and then you're getting solo XP while they're doing stuff across the map. But then they're going to want to come back to lane by the time that it's like, if the enemy's letting it slow push back into them, your support needs to be there for that. Or if the enemies can dive you, like if it's a level 6 Nautilus and you're alone in a turret, he's just going to kill you, right? So that's a time where like when the wave crashes, your support needs to be on a turret with you. Or you need to be on a turret with your support if you're out of lane as AD carry for some reason. But just, you know, the AD carry and support roaming timings are like pretty much the exact same. You're just trying to do it when you're not going to miss anything. Obviously supports can be gone longer though, because I as an AD carry am perfectly happy catching solo XP whenever I can. Like, give me those levels, dude. I'm totally happy with that. I don't care. But yeah, do you have anything you want to talk about? Any questions?
Well, say I'm playing Kai'Sa not into like I don't know, like Jhin Alistar. Okay.
Yeah.
So the level 1. Like, how should I play this level 1 like an Alistar?
So you're the.
Like, shouldn't I just poke him like down because he can't do anything?
Who are you playing? Wait, which one? Are you? So you're Kai'Sa.
Kai'Sa, Nautilus into an Alistar Jhin.
Okay, so if you think about that, so Nautilus. So just think about who has more pressure level 1. Nautilus, I'd say beats Alistar a little bit, right? Yeah. But does Jhin beat? I think Jhin beats Kai'Sa level 1 in terms of like just pressure, just because he has a range advantage. It just depends on how he positions. Like if the Jhin steps out of the wave, like Kai'Sa can solo queue him and get like multiple autos off, yes. But I think because Nautilus is so, like, I don't think Jhin is much stronger than Kai'Sa in that though. Like, so it just depends who offsets more. Like, I think because Nautilus is like a lot better than Alistar's level 1, and the hook is more threatening to Jhin, that Jhin can't just like walk up here, right? Jhin can't just be standing super far up, and Alistar can't stand super far up, because Kai'Sa will just hit Alistar if he's standing really far up. And if Jin's alone up here, Nautilus gets a lot of pressure on him. Does that make sense? Can you follow that?
Yeah.
So the way you should play it is if you're Jhin Kai'Sa, or if you're the Nautilus Kai'Sa, if Jhin is forced off the wave because the Nautilus like pressures him, like if Nautilus is just standing in fucking La La Land up here and Kai'Sa's down here, and Jin's just standing on this minion, and Nautilus isn't doing shit, then Jin's going to be able to kind of pressure Kai'Sa. Because also what Jin can do is, when Kai'Sa's trying to move up, Jin can just drop his Q on the minions to grenade her. Right, from out of range, if she's like back behind these minions. He doesn't actually have to Q the Kai'Sa. He can Q the minions in order to hit the Kai'Sa. Whereas Kai'Sa has lower range and has to actually come into the Jin. And if Jin has fourth shot, what does Kai'Sa have to do? You have to back up, right? Back up. So he can use that to pressure.
But if she uses the force shot on the wave, then it's our time to like try to fight her.
Yeah, then you can move up for a second. So a lot of it has to do now at that time, and these kind of matchups, a lot of it has to do with how the support's standing. So again, if your Nautilus is just like AFK and not, if Jin's down here, the Nautilus needs to like try to like get into a position where like he pressures Jin and Jin has to move. Because Alistar can't really do anything, because if Alistar tries to walk up, Kai'Sa just kites him and hits him and does like half his HP with Halo Blades and Q, right? So just kind of think about that and think about where's my support. If you're dual with the support, you can try to tell them about that stuff. But in solo queue, you just kind of hope they see it. And just if Jin gets like the priority on the wave, just don't try to contest his like damage. Unless, you know, if he doesn't have 4-shot and he's standing outside the wave and you can move up and get Qs on him, hit him. But if they're going to hit level 2, if you know they're going to hit level 2 first, catch the CS you can, but value your HP more than anything, because if you lose like half your HP catching 3 melee minions, you know, if every time you come to hit this minion, Jin like 4-shots you, and then next time you come up to this one, he Qs you and autos you, and you're like 70% HP just slowly bleeding, then when the wave's bouncing back and like you hit your spike as like level 2 Nautilus or level 3 Nautilus, you're not actually able to do anything. Like you can't follow up Nautilus because you're just too low already. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like at that point, it just becomes like give up the CS you need to give up. That allows you to stay healthy, and just try to catch the ones you can. Because if you try to get greedy for those first few CS, then when the wave is like in a like the longer the wave, like if you get greedy for those first few CS and you take a lot of HP, you're gonna miss a lot more down the road, because you're not going to be healthy enough to contest them when you actually should be able to. So you can play to be like, okay, it's fine if I miss a few CS. I let the waves like crash into me. If they crash into you, you just can catch it pretty easily under your turret. If they slow push into you, you'll miss what you can. They'll have the priority on the wave. And then you just play for like Nautilus landing a hook on Jin finally. But you have to play to your HP then, because if you're low and Nautilus lands a hook, you can't really do anything. So the biggest thing is like if you're now if you're like the Nautilus is pressuring Jin and you're actually able to get the push, especially because your Q is really good at killing those first minions, and Nautilus is actually walking up at Jin, now you just play for the slow push, and you just play in a spot where like if I play kind of diagonal to Jin, Alistar's kind of irrelevant, right? If Jin's like, you know, down on this side and I play up here and Nautilus just stands down here, because of this hook pressure, like Jin's kind of forced away. But now I just want to be thinking about like I still want to stand far up, because Nautilus is the one who's zoning Jin away, so Jin can't really stop me. I'm not really looking to run into Jin to poke him, but I'm just trying to keep Jin off the wave. If Jin walks into me and I can like get a full auto Q on him, like outside the like an isolated Q, that's obviously going to be worth it. But the point of like standing here aggressively, even as MF or whatever, is not necessarily to like force damage onto them. It's to punish them if they do try to contest. Because otherwise, you're just making him stand off the wave so that you have your slow push going and he can't do anything. Because again, they have to touch the CS in order to like fight it back. So you just know you're in control of the wave. And then if Jin walks up and fucks up, he gets hooked, and now boom, he's gonna miss this whole slow push in, or he's gonna get punished for it.
Yeah, because he's like low HP now.
Yeah. So if you're the Jin, you're like, well, I have Alistar, and Alistar's useless until level 3. Pretty much. Like level 2, he has some merit, but pretty much level 3 is his when he comes really online, when he gets his E stun on top of his combo, because his combo alone isn't very much CC, and you can kind of like outplay it a little bit. So Jin now is like, okay, well, I just have to give up what I have to give up because Nautilus has pressured me off the wave, and Kai'Sa is also in a spot now up here where like if Nautilus does get a hook, Kai'Sa can come in. Right. And obviously, if Alistar's standing right here, so what Alistar should be doing is constantly standing in kind of in a spot between you and Jin, so that if Nautilus does land a hook, he's not trying to Q the Nautilus, because Nautilus isn't going to like shit on the Jin's HP. He'll hurt him, but if Jin gets hit and Alistar just like kind of walks into you, you can't, like, you're not able to walk into Jin from here. Right? Because he'll just Q you. Yeah. And then, so maybe if Alistar's standing here, and I was standing here, or if I'm standing here and Jin was like down here, Nautilus is controlling the bottom side, or if we're playing more relative to where the minions are right now,
But just
maybe.
auto Alistar probably, and then just space his Q.
Well, then Nautilus is kind of going to get smacked by Jin. What you should then do is just like try to position away from Alistar in a spot where you're actually going to be able to move on the Jin. So like if Nautilus is, if Jin's down here and Nautilus is like standing on this wave and I'm sitting here, if Alistar like is down here, this is fine for you because you're gonna be able to move in. And obviously, you know, if Alistar starts moving at you, you do space him. You don't like just let him Q you or anything. Yeah. But as long as you're spacing him, he's eventually just gonna hit Nautilus probably in lower ranks. But if Alistar ends up like standing more between you guys, then the whole time like you're gonna be able to just poke Alistar then at level 1. But if he's standing by Jin, then I probably want to be more towards Nautilus now, where like if something happens, I can actually move up with him. Just try to think about like what can I do if Nautilus does get a hook, and where can I stand that like better enables me to actually move up. That also creates pressure on Jin from like walking up into the wave. But mostly you're not the one who's creating that pressure of Jin walking up, as Kai said, because you have low range. And you know, if he's inside the wave, your Q doesn't do very much, if anything at all. Jin's auto Q will do more than yours at that point, right? Nautilus is going to be the one creating more pressure, and you kind of have to play around your Nautilus a lot more in that kind of lane. But again, if you're the Jin now, you're like, I just want to stay healthy and let Alistar at level 3, so that when he is level 3, I'm like high enough HP that we can actually just like all on the Kai'Sa. If Kai'Sa oversteps and Alistar gets like a flash combo onto her, like a flash Q. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So just there are some lanes that you're a little bit less in control, as the AD carry. This is why Misfortune's really nice, because a lot of time as MF you can be in control, because you have your Q through minions that you can zone them with. You have your E. As common MF you have your E, but if you're like more damage build, your Q is like can zone them through minions, poke them when they come up. So they just have a hard they have a hard time walking past this point. But yes, support.
Do you think you should go PTA on MF, or do you think Comet's just always better?
I like PTA more. It just fits my playstyle more. And I think Kraken Slayer PTA MF does it. Like I've won almost all my games on it this season, but I go Comet when it's more of a pokey lane. Kraken Slayer PTA. Yeah, it's strong, dude. You'd probably like it. I like it more when I have like an engagey matchup, and I don't need to like fight for prio. Like if I'm against Ezreal Zillion, it's hard for me to auto and Q them, right? Because it's hard for me as MF to walk into Zillion because he'll slow you. Yeah. So it's hard for me to like pressure with my autos, so I can win the prow instead with my E and like Comet. Like in this, and especially with Ashe, who's more poke based. But if I have like a Thresh into this matchup, now I can use PTA because I can wait for Thresh to get a hook off. Then I can play around that a little bit more.
Yeah. Okay.
But you might, as PTMF with a Thresh or with like a melee support, you might not be able to fight so hard for level 1 prio without like your E into someone like Zillion Ezreal who have like longer range abilities to poke you off. So like I think of Comet E at max MF as like a really like, and obviously the tier mana as like get out of jail free kind of, because you kind of just always have the ability to get them off the wave, right? Because they can't like as soon as you E, they're forced to run away, and then it's like that gives you time to auto the wave and get it in your favor.
So if I'm against like a Kai'Sa on MF, I should probably go PTA.
You could still go Comet if you like that. Like I'm not even assisting that PTA is better. I like it more. It's my personal preference.
Try it, I guess.
Yeah, and I know Assisted is your friend, right? Yeah, he's saying he's begun to spread the word of Kraken MMS. Yeah, Gale Force does feel good too. I like Gale Force over Kraken when I feel like I really need to like the dash, like to put space between people. Gale Force does feel good, but my God, when I'm winning lane and I have Kraken Star on MF, dude.
What do you even go like after Kraken?
I just go Kraken Collector IE. Because Kraken's passive gives the legendary items 10% attack speed, so you get attack speed out of Collector. And MF, like in last season, didn't even build attack speed, right? You just went like Essence IE BT or Essence IE Death Stance, whatever it was at the time. It changed a little bit. Sometimes you would go like Rapid Fire Cannon or PD, but a lot of the time you just ignore. Like I pretty much always ignored attack speed, and I would just get the attack speed out of using my W really well in team fights, like just making sure I have keep getting my passive procs off. Because one thing I would do in team fights with MF is like I would, use my Q to try to always reset my passive, which also gives you 2 hits of your W. And then if I'm fighting two people like in front of me, I'd bounce autos off just to get my W up again.
Yeah.
And the passive was huge. But yeah, if I go Kraken, I go Kraken Collector IE. And I've had a lot of success with that. I haven't played it in like, against like the best of the best players or anything, but played it against GMs, which is up there, but it's not like, I don't know if it'll change against the real quote unquote high elo, as some people will tend to be like, shut up, you don't know what real high elo is. It's been a while since I played up in Challenger. Anything else you want to talk about? Questions?
I mean, I think just the reason I played this game pretty bad was running into them.
Yeah.
I think I could have roamed mid that one time.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the thing when you said go top instead of going like bot or anything else right there.
Yeah, because your team doesn't. Oh yeah, a lot of the time too is like a lot of times or a lot of things that you catch. I don't know why I'm skipping through this. I'm gonna see anything. Is like you'll get an ace in mid or something, and like you'll have 5 people pushing 1 turret.
Yeah.
When it's like, okay, I think my team can get 2 turrets without me. If I see a big wave top, I'm like, all right, you guys can push this. I'll go top. Now, if I think I can make it all the way to like an inhib and I want to take that inhib, like it's 23 minutes or something, and we're like on inner turret and we can get inhib if I'm there, yeah, of course I'm gonna keep pushing mid with my team, right? But if like people are on a shorter respawn timer and I don't think we're gonna get more than 1 turret and that turret's just dead anyways, I'm like, okay, you guys can get that. I'm gonna go catch this wave. I might even just sometimes I ditch my team in mid tower to go catch their whole topside jungle, like, and then go top. I'm like, dude, like again, that's still more value. Like I don't care about sharing mid XP and gold at that point when I can get more if I'm just on my own. But that's definitely something to look for. But yeah, I know you're acknowledging the like mess ups when you're walking up against the Zillion, but that is probably something that you tend to do a bit often.
I'm gonna have to watch I'll probably play another game after this and watch and see if I do that again.
You'll probably be really aware of it the first couple games at least
Yeah.
before you go back to autopilot. just try to be conscious of it a lot. Yeah, you can always message me with questions or anything if you have a small clip. I'll try to take a look at it for you.
Okay.
But yeah, you can just keep in touch, man. Let me know how they're going.
Yeah, this is helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. You should thank Assisted, dude. He's the one gifting you that.
True. He's
Good
a homie.
guy. Yeah, he is the homie, dude. I don't think I've had anybody ask to do that before. I mean, I get maybe before. I don't know if it's ever actually went through with it, though, but yeah. Yeah, I'm not worried about your mechanics so much, but do be afraid of or not afraid, aware of just trying to click closer to your champion rather than further.
Oh yeah, true. I'm actually going to practice talking to this.
Because I did see like there was a few times this game, I didn't comment on it in the game, but there was a few times that like your mouse actually like dragged your camera just randomly when you didn't mean to.
Yeah.
And like and I'm saying that like I can, because you'd like jerk it onto like nothing and then you'd reset it and it would just be like a whoops. Which
I've also been messing with my settings too, trying to like make my camera faster. I know that's something that you want to do.
I play. Some people play with surprisingly slow cameras. I like it faster though, just because it just fits me more. Like I tend to just edge my camera more, like quite often. I think. Like I'll make small adjustments to it just by like bumping the top of my screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I play on faster DPI too.
Well, yeah, mine's not very slow. I play on like 75 in game.
I don't know, but I have no idea how much in game is relative to DPI.
Yeah, me either, to be honest. I don't know. There's like 3 buttons on my mouse that I like switch it to. I can't really tell.
What mouse do you have?
I don't know. It's like a.
Yeah, I have no clue.
My brother gave it to me, so I don't even know what it's called.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it just play on whatever DPI is comfortable for you. It doesn't really. DPI is all personal preference. Some pros play with really high DPI. Some pros play with really low DPI. Some play in between. It's not even just pros, but like high low players in general. It's kind of just all over the place. 50 is 1-to-1. Yeah, I know that, but I was saying like when he says 75, I don't know how much that is relative to DPI, because it obviously still has to do with how much DPI he uses. But all right, dude, I'm sure you're probably gonna go out and grind some games.
Yeah, I know. I gotta make up for this losing streak I had yesterday.